Welcome to episode 35 of Destination Talk. I'm John Paz.
And I am Harry, and we are coming to you once again from Chop Studios located at 750 Route 34 in Matawan, New Jersey. Today we are joined by former collegiate football player Alejandro Aldo Santiago. First time I think I've ever said your full name in front of you. I don't think I've ever said that before. Aldo went to and graduated from St. Anselm College in Manchester, New Hampshire, a Division II program where he was a linebacker for them. And I hope I'm getting this right. You were captain your senior year?
Fifth year, yes.
Fifth year.
Yeah.
Well, fifth year,
Same
senior,
thing, yeah.
same thing, but
Same
he was
thing.
named captain. Aldo, welcome to the show. How's everything going?
Good. Thank you for having me.
No, you're very welcome. Was pleasantly surprised when you said you were coming in studio.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because we were fully expecting you to be remote. Aldo's still up in the area where he went to school, but he surprised us by coming in. Some episodes have a little bit more of a special meaning for me personally. When we have guests in here, this is one of them. I have known Aldo since 8th, 9th grade, I think we said.
Grade.
8th grade.
8th grade.
So I had the privilege and honor of training Aldo all of high school, all of college.
Yep.
So I've watched you grow up, and I'm older, and you don't look like you are.
You're still young, Harry. Don't
Yeah, I
worry.
appreciate that. So, Aldo, once again, thanks for coming in. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, where you're from, how you got into football? Were you involved in any other sports along the way?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Woodbridge, New Jersey, as John was raised in Colonia. I played, every sport growing up. My parents signed me up for every sport because they wanted to see what I was into, what I liked. And I just gravitated towards football. And I graduated from now St. Thomas Aquinas. When I went, it was Bishop Bar, class of 2020. And then I went up and played at St. Anselm College. And I guess we'll touch on in a bit about my way to St. Anselm.
Yeah, you have
100%.
there's definitely a unique and funny story. Well, yeah, I guess it's funny.
Funny,
now.
yeah.
I guess
now we
it's
look
funny
back
now.
at it, we laugh about
It's
it.
funny now, the whole process of how we got there.
Yeah.
So, can you talk a little bit about what it was like growing up in Woodbridge Township? The rivalries between, Colonia, Woodbridge, and then you can add in Bishop R into that as well.
So I think growing up in Woodbridge for me was a blessing in disguise in a sense where I was exposed to I met a lot of different kids along the way. Because you think of Woodbridge, I lived in Woodbridge proper. But then you have kids that live in Colonia, Avenel, Port Reading, Seymour, and so on and so forth. You have all these kids. It naturally builds this competition where you want to be the best. And when you want to be the best around a lot of kids, you naturally get better.
Yep.
So I think of it like it was competition. And who doesn't love competition?
Yeah. I always love the Colonia Woodbridge rival, especially in wrestling.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, it's a rivalry that will always be.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Colonia played Woodbridge last night.
And Woodbridge won.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I did see that earlier today. So by the time this airs, it's a few weeks ago, but
Yeah.
Woodbridge did beat Colonia this year. Sorry, John.
Thanks.
So what? You said you were involved in a lot of other sports. So what were some of those sports that you played?
So, funny story, my dad was never a football player. He was a soccer and basketball player. So when I was a kid, my dad was the president of the basketball league, was president of the soccer league, because he just loved to do it. So I was exposed to basketball, soccer, played a little baseball, but football was my main
You
sport.
wrestled too a little bit.
I wrestled for a summer.
Wrestling's in the winter.
I did a summer league at Metuchen High School.
There you go.
So,
Now, and then before we get into the football, you guys played together?
Yeah.
Or against each other?
Pop Warner.
yes. So funny story.
Back in my football days.
Back when his football days.
Which lasted probably all of 1 week.
Yeah.
I played a couple years. Pop Warner.
So where I was playing at the time, they didn't have, I think it was like junior midgets. I think that's what it's called.
Yep.
And they didn't have a team. So I was like, oh, where am I going to go? And Jimmy Brown, great. I love Jimmy Brown. And I became friendly with him. And I joined the Colonia's 8th grade team. Yeah, the junior midget team.
that was my last year. Of playing
And John,
football.
great quarterback.
Yeah.
He
played
could
quarterback,
sling the ball, man.
Can't throw anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen
Yeah.
him try to throw
Yeah.
stuff. It usually
Yeah.
doesn't get to me.
Yeah.
Shoulders are shot. But yeah, we did play for a little bit.
Yeah.
So Aldo and I do go way back.
Way back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, this is our story is pretty fascinating how it all comes together
Full
at some
circle
point.
moment,
Yeah, and it's back to what this podcast is all about, how we
Right.
got to our destination, the journey through everyone's path.
Yeah.
So
And then, so what ultimately led you to football?
So I have an older brother. His name's Manny. He's 28. He played at Woodbridge High School, graduated 2014. And I would go to his games when I was like in elementary school, and just seeing the Friday Night Lights like scene, I was like, I'm hooked. Like, I love this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your time and your experience playing for Bishop Bar? Well, now St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah. So Bishop Bar, it taught me a lot. St. Thomas Aquinas, it taught me a lot. My senior year, not a lot of people know this. It was quote unquote a rebuilding year. We were low on. It's a Catholic school where we were low on numbers. It's not a big public school. And we started 7 freshmen my senior year, and one was the quarterback. So Brian Meady, God rest his soul, but he was my head coach at the time. He helped me become a leader, because when things went south, when things went wrong in a game, everyone looked to me. What are we going to do next? So I kind of felt like, I want to say immense pressure, but there was some kind of pressure to perform at St. Thomas Aquinas my senior year. But at the end of the day, that helped me become who I am today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and that's where our journey kind of picked up.
Yes.
That's where it started. And I think, for full fairness, Mr. Bob Herbert.
Yes.
He was there at the time. I was training his son, Robbie, and he liked what we were doing.
Yeah.
And he thought that this would be beneficial to the program.
For the program, yeah.
And I remember it was like a Saturday afternoon, like 10 or 11 of you guys came in, and your head coach at the time came to see that practice. And that's, in a lot of ways, it's that buy-in. Like, the coach needs to understand that the work that I do with my athletes is not to supersede him, but it's to complement him, to make any coach's job easier. Mm-hmm. And so I remember, I was with you guys for 3 years.
You were on the sidelines. Coming to away games on the bus.
Yeah, those bus rides back were great, because the opposing teams would give us the food.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and since I rode with the coaches, I got the food, because that's where it went first.
Yeah.
So that was always a fun trip back home.
Yeah.
But no, so I had a chance to see you, as a freshman, go grow up in the program, and I get by your sophomore year, you were getting some reps.
Yeah, I was starting both ways.
And then your junior year is when you started to really kind of hit the map a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that's a good place. You don't have to mention the school. We'll leave that part out.
Yeah.
But but we'll leave that part out. But you left high school, and we were kind of around those COVID days a little bit in that area as well.
Yeah.
So you arrived on campus at this particular school, and then something happened.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that story?
So I initially enrolled at a Division I program. I walked on there, and I guess it was a misunderstanding on my end. And I guess we'll get into this later about roster spots, scholarships, opportunities. And I was under the impression that I was going to be at least a partial scholarship player, or at least compete for it. But I was wrong. And unfortunately, during camp, I had to leave this program, because financially this wasn't in my cards. And after I left that program, I enrolled at Middlesex Community College, and that's where I was introduced to the NJ Warriors, and I played there.
And I do remember that day very specifically, because
I can tell that story. Yeah.
You called me.
Yeah, so
you called me that
funny
day.
story. I don't think you know this.
I don't know the story now.
So it was like week 2 of camp, and I was like, this is not working out. And the first person I called was Harry. I didn't even call my mom. Didn't even call my dad. Didn't call my mom. Called Harry. I was like, Harry knows everything. And he was like, did you call your mother? I was like, no. He's like, so call your mother, then call me back. And then I just told Harry, I'm like, I was so defeated at that point. I was like, I don't want to play football anymore. I'm just so discouraged. Like, everything we worked for is out the window. And you reassured me that, like, this is just the beginning.
Right.
Like, you need to keep going. You can't stop here. So I took a week to reflect on what I really wanted to do, what I wanted to get done. And I ultimately enrolled at Middlesex, and I found the Warriors.
Yeah, and so my recollection of that phone call, very similar to yours, was that when you called me and I said, hey, have you spoken to your parents? And you said you had not at that moment. I was like, okay, get off the phone with me.
Yeah.
Make that phone call. I says, and then the second question is do you have a plan B?
Mm-hmm.
And you did say at that time you had one. You had one. I said, all right, fine. Talk to mom and dad.
Yeah.
Get back to me, and then we'll discuss what plan B is.
Yeah.
And then, the little irony in all of that was we had spent that summer out on Colonia High School's football field training, looking for shade, because there was no cover there. Well, that winter, he and I were out at Colonia High School on their field. But we were trying to find sun because there were Saturday mornings. We'd be out there. It was 10, 15 degrees. I'm dressed up like an Eskimo.
Yeah.
I
didn't have gloves.
Remember the first workout we do out there, he's not wearing gloves.
Oh boy.
And he can't feel his fingers.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to go get you gloves.
I'm like, this is nuts.
So yeah, the hot hair, the cold
Our paths definitely crossed on many ways.
and then we trained all together.
All of us.
Yeah, Oak Glen Park.
And Clark.
Where, you guys
we'd run the conditioning tests.
ran the conditioning
as a
tests.
warm-up.
We were doing that, and you guys back then still couldn't strip down to your shorts and basically
It was hot.
It was
It was the
yeah,
summertime.
it was hot. You guys
tan,
you guys wanted to show off. I was trying to help you guys get better. You're showing off to the people driving by on the street there.
Definitely not guys.
No, not the guys. You know what I mean? Just showing off to all the people driving on Central Ave and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of goes back to like when I used to train with Avery as well. Any sport, wrestling, football, field hockey, lacrosse, whatever it is, we can all train together, and I think that's what makes your training really, special.
No, I appreciate that, and I think too, I've been fortunate and blessed to work with a lot of people, and so there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to find individuals to challenge them and to help them become better, you do have to cross train against many different sports. But the work is the work; it's the same thing, and I would give an exercise for you guys to do, but I would say you focus more on the wrestling side, you focus on the football side.
Yeah.
But it's just using your imagination.
You'd wear cleats, I wear no shoes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you managed to do something with wrestling shoes that I didn't think was possible. Both on turf and grass. I don't know how you did that, quite honestly.
Kind of circling back a little bit to your high school days. Do you have a defining game, a play, a moment that you'll remember?
Yeah, it's actually sounds kind of crazy, but like I said, everyone was looking at me like, what are we gonna do next? And I remember we were losing to Denellen, and we never lost to Denellen. Maybe I think my sophomore we lost to Denellen, but my senior year, I'm like, I'm not losing to Denellen. And we were down by like 3 points, and there was like 30 seconds left. And I told my coach, like, just give me the ball. I'll make something happen. And I'm not by trade, I'm not a running back. I'm a linebacker. By trade, I'm not a running back. And I said, give me the ball, I'll do something. So I remember I took the ball and I closed my eyes, and I still have the play on my phone, and I just ran. I ran. I didn't look who was in front of me. I didn't know where I was going. I just ran. And then I opened my eyes and I was in the end zone. And that...
At least you know how to get there.
Yeah, and I got there. It was like 20 yards. And I was like, but it was my mindset. It was like, I refuse to lose. I refuse to go down. And that's what really sticks out to me.
You QB'd that team a little bit
My
too.
junior year, I did.
Because you were doing a lot of RPO, pass option, stuff like that. I remember that year.
Yeah.
You were jumping back and forth from both sides.
Yeah.
So we got from Bishop R to Middlesex. You talk about how you got to St. Anselm's.
Yeah. It's funny. This was actually I wouldn't say, it wasn't a mistake. It just happened. So my defensive coordinator, Chris Riley at the NJ Warriors, is friends with Chad Brain. And they were just on the phone. They're friends. They were just on the phone. And then Coach Brain was like, hey, we need a linebacker. Do you know anyone? Like, we need just one linebacker, one transfer. And then Chris Riley was like, yeah, I have Alejandro. And he was like, just send me his information. And that's what happened.
So let's dive into dive into the night of that phone call.
Okay, yeah. So
You and Harry have a lot of phone calls, huh?
no, I was with Harry.
So all right, I'll paint this picture briefly. It was, I believe it was a Thursday night. It was a Thursday night. We were training at the other facility where you and I originally started training.
Yeah.
And so we were just about to start our training session, and then I'll let Aldo tell the story, and then I'll fill in the gaps.
I knew Coach Brain was going to call me that day, and I just didn't know when. And it was almost like it was 7 o'clock.
Yeah, we were.
It was
around
late,
that time.
and I was like, he still didn't call yet. And I knew it was about like a scholarship offer or like an opportunity to play there, and I was just so anxious, and he didn't call yet. And I'm training with Harry, and I'm like, I can't focus. And I was like, Harry, I don't feel too good. And I was like, I had this weird pain in my chest, and it was awful. And you're like, are you all right? I'm like, no. So I sat down, and you think I'm having a heart attack.
I mean, you got to think the worst just in case.
So I'm sitting down. I'm like, I can't do this. So we're sitting down. He's like, all right, relax. Harry being Harry.
Yeah.
And
we walked out of the training area. We're sitting at that high top table.
And I have my phone in my hand, and I'm like, Coach Brain's calling me. You were like, answer it. Answer it. So I answered it, and he was like, we'd like to offer you a scholarship to come stay in, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, oof, sign of relief. But you still made me go to the hospital that night.
Well, ultimately, no. So let me fill in my own version of this.
Oh, boy.
He wasn't, obviously he's not feeling well. All I did was suggest to him, hey, talk to your parents, see what they say. You guys come to a decision as to how you want to do this. You ultimately did go because I think mom and dad did win out on that conversation.
Yeah, my mom won out on that.
Don't put all the blame on me. I was just looking out for your best interest. So you end up going to, well, you made a recruiting trip to St. Anselm.
Yes.
So that's a topic that we talk a lot about here on the show, and we want to share that message with the athletes and just the families that are listening to us. So can you take us a little bit through that process of how it was for you?
On the visit?
Yeah, on the visit.
The best way I'd explain it to you is it's a job interview. When you're on a visit, you are constantly getting evaluated. I remember, because I would do the visits when I was at St. Anselm. I would bring recruits around. You want to make the best impression you can possibly. You can make the best. You have to make the best impression. Meaning, you are a great football player, obviously, but how are you as a person? So I was so conscious of how I acted, how I communicated with, the dining staff, like when I went for breakfast, or how I communicated with, the players on the team or just faculty. Because I knew Brandon Potts, you familiar with Brandon Potts? St. Anselm? He was my person. I knew he was going to give a report back to the coaching staff. And if he gave a bad report, the program won't want me at that point. Right. So it's a job interview in the long run of it.
So your head coach was and he's still there currently, Joe Adam.
Joe Adam.
So selfless plug, episode 8 of Destination Talk was Coach Adam. Go back and check it out.
It's a good episode.
So and so I owe a lot to you also from that perspective, because it's you who introduced me to Coach.
Yeah.
And we had an opportunity for a couple of summers where we had about, I think, safely a dozen guys from the New Jersey area.
Yeah.
That were attending St.
Yeah.
Anselm, that were training together.
Yeah.
So that turned into a pretty cool experience.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I've traveled up there twice.
Yeah. Great food.
Great. I was surprisingly
surprised.
I was surprised. Yes, pleasantly surprised at how many options there were for good restaurants in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Right.
And a plug that doesn't give us anything, but the Foundry, outstanding restaurant. Yeah. Been there 3 times on my 2 trips.
Nice.
So 3 times on 2 trips.
Yeah, 3 times on 2 trips.
Remember those numbers.
So, but Coach has a mentality up there with that program, BCM.
BCM,
blue collar mentality.
Yeah.
We had him explain it to us from his perspective. Mm-hmm. What did that mean to you as a player?
So, BCM, blue collar mentality, do you have relentless work ethic? Are you constantly trying to better yourself? But at the same time, are you worried about the team? It's we, not me. If you only worry about yourself, no, that's not blue collar mentality. You know what I mean? You need to put the team first, because at the end of the day, you can't take on an entire football team by yourself. Everyone, if there's 11 guys on the field, everyone has to do their 1/11th on the field. So if you're not meeting that expectation, or you're not exceeding the standards, that's not blue collar mentality. And championship character. What are you doing off the field? Are you getting into trouble? Are you going to class? Are you late all the time? What kind of representation are you setting for yourself and the program? So if you're not meeting, like I said, if you're not meeting the standards, or you're not exceeding the standards or the expectations, that's not blue collar mentality.
Yeah, and he's done a very good job at that program, and Division II program.
Yeah.
He's certainly turned it around. You guys have played. Now I know in your final year you played Sacred Heart, so an FCS D1 program.
Yeah.
Lost a tough game on the road up there to them. But I don't know how the NE10 might feel about this, but one of their former teams did jump to the Division I ranks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the NE10, as in the 4 years that I've been paying attention to it, is a very competitive conference.
Absolutely,
for Division II level. Can you speak a little bit to? I think a lot of individuals have this grand vision of it's D1 or nothing.
Yeah.
But you were at a D1 program, albeit briefly, but you were there.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know you can speak to what Division I was like, but I think that's a special type of person that goes D1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
there are plenty of programs at the D2, D3 level that provide opportunities.
Absolutely.
And there were guys on your team that are currently playing pro ball.
Yeah.
In other countries. So can you talk a little bit about what that Division II experience was like?
Yeah, so I'm going to circle back to what you said about D1 or all or nothing. You have to love ball, you know what I mean? Or any sport you play. If you just want to play Division I football or Division I anything, you don't truly love the sport. Whatever opportunity you get, you should take it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your heart has to be there. Playing Division II football, I think it's no different from playing lower FCS football and Division III. Like I said, we held Sacred Heart to 10 points.
Yep.
That speaks volumes on just not the defense, but the team. You know what I mean? They're fully funded scholarship. That's a fully funded scholarship program. Division II, it's fully funded, but less scholarships.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have to be able to, one, love football, and two, play at a standard where it meets, obviously, the expectations of the team, but also you have to bring it all together. You know what I mean? If you're not loving it, then you shouldn't be doing it. That's my take on Division II. And like I said, Division III players can play at the Division II level, and Division II players can play at the FCS level.
Well, I mean, I think a guy like Sebastian Bass.
Yes, he would be a starter in the end. He would be an all-conference NE10 player.
Episode 7, Sebastian Montlewis on Destination Talk, by the way.
Yeah. He would be an all-conference NE10 football player. And anyone no matter what the division is, and this is such like it gets me hot talking about this. Anyone at Division II, Division III, FCS, all three levels of that, they're great football players.
Yes.
I don't know what the percentage is of players in high school that play at that next level in college. I don't know what the percentage. It's very low.
7%.
Yes. Any division you play at, it's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You get to play a sport in college. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think with the way the rules have been rewritten a little bit too, I know it's like this for wrestling. I don't know if it extends across all other sports, but if you go NAIA or JUCO now, that doesn't count towards your eligibility.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know, a lot of individuals, like they have this mentality, I want to play here or nothing else, but you can go hone your skills at a JUCO for 2 years and still have 4 years of NCAA eligibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you truly want to go that route.
Yeah.
We'll have mid-20-year-olds in college for the whole, next 10, 24 years.
I mean, I just read something today. There's a guy, don't hold me to it, I think a Vanderbilt player who's seeking his 7th year of eligibility.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you see the Lycoming College, the 56-year-old defensive lineman?
Yes.
56-year-old?
56-year-old.
Yeah, their D3 program out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. And guy still wants to play.
Lycoming, I think, is in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And he's in his 50s playing.
Yeah. He never went to college before, so he can play.
He had
all 4 years.
Has
I think he's you said D lineman. Someone's punting.
I did hear that.
Someone's also punting who's like 30 or 40 years old in college right now.
So
you're out of eligibility, though, right?
I believe I am.
Okay.
Are you all done?
I think I'm done.
Okay.
Just checking because maybe get out there pitching.
Hey, you never know. You got a year left. You can go kick for someone in 10 years.
Kick a ball.
Play linebacker.
We'll see about that. So you talked about your favorite moment at Bishop Ark. Can you talk about a special moment at St. Anselm's that you had?
Like I said, I think it was playing Sacred Heart. You know, going to that game, there was a lot. I don't really listen to the noise, but there was a lot of noise saying, "Oh, you know, it's a Division II program. They're going to roll in here and get steamrolled." But like, we held them 10 points, and granted, we lost, but internally, I felt like it was a victory.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite moment of you in college was the interception for the touchdown.
Oh yeah.
That.
Wait.
Or do you
the trick play.
You caught a touchdown pass.
Yeah, I lined up at tight end, and they thought I was just going to block. I blocked for a second. I released.
And first collegiate. I was getting that mixed up. You had an interception, first career interception.
The week before.
Yeah. But he actually caught a touchdown pass, I think, the week after.
Yeah.
Great 2 weeks.
Yeah, great 2 weeks. I was on fire, man.
Great 2 weeks.
As a coach,
you were at that game, the post game, where I scored.
I was.
Yeah.
That's one of those proud moments as a coach.
Yeah.
So, training topic that both of you guys are very, very fluent in. But how would you say training influenced your career?
Like I said, like I said to you earlier, I don't have any regrets of what I did. But now, knowing what I know now, you can't lift like a power lifter, and you can't train like you tried to tell me this so many times.
Where was that conversation, if I'm not mistaken? One 98-degree day at Oakland Park when we were dying. And you guys were flexing. You were in your tight shorts showing off your quads.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna hit a heavy single. This, and I was like, but
I'm not talking.
But
because I'm right.
You always used to try to explain to me, you have your whole life to be as big as you want, to lift as much as you want. Right now, you're an athlete. You have to train like an athlete.
Yeah.
And, I took that with a grain of salt. But, as a 18, 19-year-old.
Well, I didn't take offense to it because I didn't listen to anything either when I was younger.
Exactly. But, like, as 18, 19-year-old, you want to be the biggest in the room. You want to be the strongest. And you don't think, oh, yeah, I train for football. Like, I'm just running. You know what I mean? But, like, I wish I took that a little bit more seriously.
I think your last 2 years at St. A's was some of your best football.
Yeah, because I started training like a football player.
It was some of your healthiest years you had.
Yeah.
And I do not think it should not come as any surprise is that you made a conscious choice to train differently.
Yeah.
And, you leaned out.
Yeah.
But you did not compromise strength.
Yeah. I took ownership.
And you became a much faster player because if I thought his feet were lead, when watching you perform for a while, it was like watching you run with concrete blocks on your feet. But the moment you decided to train differently and approach it from a different mindset, that's when your game took off.
Yeah.
And I did mention earlier that obviously there were teammates of yours that are playing. I won't go into specific details, but you had an opportunity after college to potentially pursue, but you chose not to for other reasons.
Other reasons, yes.
Health reasons were part of that too.
Yes, absolutely.
So opportunity does exist if you put in the time and work.
Put in the time, yeah.
If you
It's
put
your
in
will
the
and
time,
desire to want
absolutely.
it. Yeah, absolutely.
I read a quote the other day. It was you can't change the cards you were dealt. You can only It's only how you play how you play the cards.
Yeah.
So I read that the other day and it kind of resonated with me a little bit in like everything.
Yeah.
Not just cards.
Yeah.
No, listen, you come into a situation. This is what you have in front of you. You look at it and it's like, okay, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
Do I complain about it and bemoan it, or do I say, okay, this may suck, but where can I find a silver lining or some positive from it, and then try to move in that direction?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go from there.
So, looking at the game today, how football is, what do you think has changed most from when you played, whether it's the training, the rules, recruiting, everything as a whole, just from football, from a big perspective?
It's only been a year since I've played, but see, that's a hard question because it changes. Like Division II, there's nothing much. Like Division I, NIL, that's changed a lot. Mm-hmm. Like I saw that the UCLA quarterback might be able to transfer now. I don't even know how that makes sense. But the problem is with that, Division II is so focused on, and it has to be on the team itself. At the higher Division I schools and the NIL, it's the individual. Mm-hmm. There's not much of a team aspect. And like I said, Division II, that doesn't exist. It's just team. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think rules and regulations, like rules and whatnot with football, nothing much changed in, I guess, for the collegiate, NFL, the new kickoff. Like, I think Donald Trump, I think he called it like soft. Like, so.
Well, watching the Giants-Cowboys game over the weekend, they should.
Great game.
Great.
Not for me as a Giants fan.
Yeah, great game overall.
I think it almost looked like you needed to put just belts around these guys' waists with flags on them, because I do think it feels like you can't. The game is certainly, I think, from my perspective, they want more offense.
Absolutely.
They want more offense. You as a defensive player have to be very careful because you're a linebacker. You're honing in on the quarterback and he breaks out. But the moment he goes into his slide, you're going what feels like 100 miles an hour, and you have to somehow become an acrobat and jump over him and not hit the guy.
Yeah.
So it definitely doesn't favor the defense.
I remember in the post game, one of my linebackers next to me, the ref came up to me and was like, if you would have hit the quarterback right then and there, that would have been targeting. He was like, what? So it's like, as a defender playing football now, you really have to be careful how you tackle someone, because you'll get kicked out of the game.
And listen, I'm all for safety. I mean, if we go back 30, 40 years ago, the game was played differently. I was told, my dad used to tell me that just because you got tackled in football, the play wasn't over.
Exactly.
It wasn't until the referee blew the whistle.
Yeah.
So you got tackled and guys were like gouging your eyes out and they were trying to get this is what they were doing at the bottom of these piles. So I'm all for safety, but I think there has to be a bit of reason behind it.
I know the one is like when the quarterback gets like sacked and you land all your weight on top of them, like that's like a penalty.
That's a penalty, yeah.
I didn't understand that one. I was like,
yeah, I mean, you're trained. I never played football competitively like the way Aldo did, and I guess to a lesser degree even how you did, even though it was a younger age. But I never I never played it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about you going all out. You get a clean, hard hit on the quarterback, and then you have to then think of stop, drop, and roll so that you don't kind of land on top, because you land on top and they're throwing the flag.
Yeah.
And I think the waters are a little muddy.
But like I said, I see the vision of what they're trying to do, but sometimes it's just unnecessary.
What is your I guess opinion or your outlook on NIL in Division I? Kind of how that looks like.
Me and my dad always talk about this. My dad does not believe in NIL. He was like, you get a full scholarship, that's what you deserve. That's all you deserve. But at the end of the day, like if your jersey's getting sold to, fans, you should get a cut of that. If you're in a video game, you should get a cut of that. Like I understand that. But at the same time, like I don't know if I can justify some of these players getting paid millions. That's more than some rookie contracts.
Yeah.
So I would just want to stay in college. I wouldn't want to just go in the NFL then.
Yeah. I think it's like the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they're just making rules up and
just as they go.
Here.
Throw this there.
Well, and certainly,
I don't agree with it.
And certainly not to pick on anyone because he's not off to the greatest of starts, but Arch Manning at Texas, he's not, I mean, their team is 2-1 as at the time of this recording, but he hasn't looked well.
Yeah.
But, obviously his last name carries weight.
Of course it does.
But he's making millions of dollars. And listen, I guess in some ways it's good because if you go into the NFL and then bust out,
you have money.
You have money if you've done the right thing with it.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think players should get something.
Something, yes.
But it's become such a business.
Yeah.
And I just recently, it looks like they took the spring transfer portal window out.
Yeah.
And that does create some issues. But I think there has to be some level of regulation because there is no commitment anymore. It's chasing the dollar.
Yeah.
And that's what professional athletes do, and I understand that. But at the collegiate level, like, where's that loyalty to team?
Yeah.
There's no more loyalty in anything.
No.
And I remember when, I was going to college, the best you can get was a full scholarship.
Yeah.
There was no NIL.
Yeah.
It only came, to life, I think it was our junior year.
Yeah, junior years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just starting new, and it's, I don't know, I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I know.
There needs to be some level of regulation, but I certainly would say that. All right, I did not want to ask this question because I'm afraid of where you might go with this, but people who played a role in your career.
You?
Yeah, see, this is why I didn't want to ask.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you made me fall in love with the process of becoming great. You know what I mean? When I left the Division I FCS school, I was down. Like, I was down. And you and Tyler Casio, who's the defensive coordinator at the NJ Warriors at the time, you two were the only ones, and besides my parents, were the only ones in my corner saying, like, are you going to sit there and not do anything now? Or are you going to get up and keep working? And you told me, like, this is just a setback. You will get better and you will be okay. And I was like, yeah. And we grinded.
Yeah.
We grinded. Those were the best workouts of my life. And it made me, like I said, fall in love with the process of becoming great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thank you for that. It really means a lot. And I think also, too, even when you go through what you went through, it's understandable.
Yeah.
It's quite, you're allowed to take a little bit of time to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. But then you get to St. Anselm's, and your first couple of years there weren't rosy either because you were dealing with. I mean, matter of fact, my first trip up to Manchester, I watched you.
I was in a cast.
Yeah, I watched you on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And you guys have this tradition of when you get a turnover on defense, you do a slam dunk into a garbage pail.
Yeah. The bucket.
We're sitting there at the stadium, and I'm watching him walk across the field to like a field house, so to speak. And he's pulling out this garbage pail, and I'm like, all right, he's doing. I had no idea what this was about. I said, oh, he's doing something nice. He's not playing. And I see he's bringing a garbage pail over for the sidelines until I realized there was a turnover in the game. And then who picks it up? And they're running over, and the guy does a complete slam dunk into the thing. And they all go nuts on the sidelines.
When we travel for away games, that bucket comes with us into the hotel rooms.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I saw the bucket online. I know the outcome wasn't very good, but because St. Anselm played on ESPN Plus just not that long ago. It's Merrimack.
Yeah.
And I saw that bucket on the sidelines a couple of weeks ago.
Get that bucket ready.
Yeah, get that bucket ready.
So what is next for Aldo?
Right now I'm just, slowly building myself, my mindset of how I should, go about my everyday without football. Because not a lot of former athletes talk about this. It's hard leaving the game. It's hard, man. And it's like, yeah, like I want to continue, stay fit, run, but just the game aspect, just putting the shoulder pads on again. It's like I miss that. But right now, I'm actually a physical education teacher, so I'm impacting the youth every day. And Monday through Thursday, I actually coach football with the young ones. I teach them football, so I'm still in the game, but just not playing. But like I said, it's very hard to step away from the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. Just for me, with all of you guys that I've worked with, it's different because you're not playing, you're not competing this year.
Yeah.
You're not competing this year, and I feel a little lost because I feel like my kids have gone on to do other things. I'm tremendously proud of both of you.
Yeah.
You've gone on to you're doing some wonderful stuff right now every day, but you do kind of lose that. I think I said to you not that long ago when we were texting, you miss that feeling of having all the guys there.
Yeah.
And how we used to grind it out for 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And you came to one or two of those workouts
I did a couple
as
of them,
well. And there's an atmosphere, there's an energy level. I mean, when we were in the smaller building, I remember there used to be 8 or 9 of you guys in that back room.
Remember I fell in the window?
So this is.
I don't think they had the scar.
So
yeah,
actually, it's very interesting because it was on a box jump, and I guess it ties both of you in.
I hate box jumps.
Yeah,
I
me
know.
too. Me too.
So when I first met John in 2020, I was given explicit instructions: no jumping.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So we kind of moved on from that. Eventually, we got him to jump a little bit, but I'm in the back room watching the guys lift. And someone comes up to me and goes, "Hey, Aldo's in the bathroom. He's bleeding." And I'm like, "What did he do?" So I walk out, and he's got this gash on the top of his nose. And I'm looking at him, and he's smiling. There's blood on his lips and in his teeth. And I'm like, "What happened?" He goes, "I missed the box, and I hit the windowsill." So
I would do something like that too.
Jumped up on, I think it was a 40 inches?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, 40-inch box. But he hit the box on the end. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I didn't quite make it.
He didn't quite make it, and he fell forward, and the box fell out from under him.
Oh, God.
And so instead of landing on top of the box, his face hit the concrete windowsill.
Mm-hmm.
So
7 stitches later.
He had to leave that workout and then go get stitched up, and he was back in a couple of days. But injuries do happen even off the field. It does sometimes occur.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a question we ask a lot of our guests: if you can give one piece of advice to your old high school self or your younger self in general, what would it be?
Don't stop. It's a marathon, not a race. Like I said, one minor setback back in 2021 at the FCS program, I could have shut down completely, never play football ever again, and I wouldn't be sitting here right now. You got to keep going. It's just it's hard for younger athletes to see that because when you're a younger athlete, you haven't been exposed to a lot of adversity. Usually, when you're in high school, you're usually the best player.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really bad happens to the star player. Like they might get a really bad injury, but nothing really bad happens to the star player, to the best player. When you're in college, everyone's the best player, and if a minor setback happens, you need to bounce back. Mm-hmm. You need to keep going. You need to keep grinding. And that's what you told me. You got to keep going no matter what.
I think what a lot of younger athletes, and it kind of will tie into the next question that I'm going to ask, which is advice for the younger kids that are out there or the kids that are in high school. But I don't think they fully realize just how much work and effort you have to put into it.
That too. Yeah.
So, if you're looking into that camera, what's that advice you'd give to that freshman or sophomore in high school right now?
Being physically fit is good. Being fast is even better. But you need to have your mental side. You have to have the best IQ on the football field. You need to know what the offense is doing. You need to know what kind of block schemes they're going to do or protections they're going to run. Like, if I showed up on a Saturday afternoon playing a team and I did not know what they were doing, I would be a lost puppy. But I'm fast, right? I'm strong, but I don't know what the other team's doing. I can't execute the plays. Like I said, everyone's good at that level. You need to be better on the mental side. And a lot of high school athletes, like I said, they're the best player. They're the best player, but they don't realize when you get to college, or some don't realize, you need to know the mental side.
And in fairness, you did struggle with that your first year at St. Anselm.
That's what I'm...
That was a struggle for you, because I remember we would have conversations, and I'd say, how are you doing? And
I
you
was
would
like, it was...
You were kind of, I don't want to say you were lost, but you did feel a little like...
It was overwhelming.
Like on an island to yourself.
It was overwhelming. Yeah, so... Like I said, being like one of the better players in high school, I didn't really have to worry about, how am I going to fit power? What does a five-man pressure look like, et cetera, et cetera. I just, go find the ball carrying, tackle him. Go find the ball carrier.
Seek and destroy.
Yeah, seek and destroy, exactly. But when I got to college, that doesn't work.
So how did you change that?
I would sit in the study hall room and I would just draw plays. I would watch film. I would watch film over and over again. And I would ask Coach Adam for help. I would go in his office and we'd watch film for hours. And I praise him for that, because what head coach, takes time away from his busy day and watches film with you for hours?
No, for my 2 cents, he's a very good man. I mean, I've texted him in the past, and he's taken the time out of his day to reach out, and he has even called.
Yeah.
How many head coaches, will pick up the phone and just call someone, and shoot the breeze for a little bit, and have a conversation. I have a great deal of respect for that man. He's a good person.
Yeah.
Any parting words of wisdom?
You put me on the spot there.
Sorry. You can make something up. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Like I said, just keep going. Don't stop. You have to find what you love to do. And you might not find it today. You might not find it tomorrow or the next month. You will find it, but you have to find something you love.
I think no matter who we are, we're going to have to deal with some level of adversity.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
Some individuals are fortunate enough to avoid it for a while, but others have to contend with it sooner, and others more frequently than they would like.
Yeah.
I do look at your story. You were a scrawny kid as a freshman.
Yeah.
You weren't chiseled in the capacity that you find yourself today. But I watched you go from your freshman year to your sophomore year, and it was a huge change.
Mm-hmm.
But then I watched your game grow. And then, when we got to the next level, when you got to the next level, you had that setback. You could have easily hung up the helmet and said, I'm done. You chose not to. You continue to push forward, and that's something you can't teach that to someone.
No,
I think that's something from within. Both of you have dealt with your own fair share of injuries and adversity through your years, and you've both come out on the other side very successful. And as a proud coach of both of you guys, I couldn't be happier. I've got 10? I got 15 years of training experience with these two guys at this table.
Yeah.
My two longest tenured athletes, and the fact that I'm sitting at a table with both of them, and one's my co-host and one's sitting here in the center being interviewed, is I'm proud of both of you guys. I can't tell you that. I can't say it enough.
Thank you.
Episode 35 here. Episode 35.
There we go.
Hey, had to be a special episode in some capacity, right?
There you go.
Had to be a
100%.
special episode. Well, Aldo, we do want to thank you so very much for taking the time. You did travel down from New Hampshire to be here.
Yeah.
So, we do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Continued success. It's been a pleasure. I'm excited to see where your path takes you, and still be a part of that journey with you as you go along. And as you well know, anytime you need me, you know how to reach out at any time. I'm always there.
Absolutely.
Folks, that's a wrap on episode 35 of Destination Talk with Paz and Harry. Until we see you again.
Cut it.